Good afternoon. My name is Alla McCoy. I am Director of Startup Support at the University of Maryland's Ventures. And I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you who joined us today for the next installment in Startup Fundamentals Workshop Series, both live webinar audience and those watching a recorded version of our Startup UMD YouTube channel. This workshop series is offered by Ventures at the University of Maryland in collaboration with our partners at MTech and Dingman Center for Entrepreneurship. Everyone attending the live session, please feel free to submit questions using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. We are recording the session and it will be posted to our Startup UMD YouTube channel, so you may submit your questions anonymously if you wish to do so. You can also raise your hand at the end of the presentation and I will unmute your microphone so you can ask your question live. So today we will cover entrepreneurship resources and a suggested path to follow them, where to begin, how to proceed, and the rationale behind it. In the past, entrepreneurship resources were mostly focused on STEM researchers, computer science, engineering, and such. However, today startups are coming from all disciplines, including the humanities, and the resources are tailored and changed and are available to innovators in either sciences or the humanities. The only requirement is that you are passionate about your research and would like a low-risk opportunity to transform it into a product or service to benefit the public. University of Maryland has a rich ecosystem of programs, offices, funding opportunities, and here are some that you may or may not have heard about. Maybe you talk to people from those organizations, and such an abundance is great. However, it makes it difficult to navigate. While we are not located in the Silicon Valley, where VC funding is aplenty, the state of Maryland and University of Maryland startups have access to over $1 million in funding, and that's before SBIRs and STTRs and venture funding come into play. However, again, it's difficult to figure out how to access it, how to access this funding. So together with partners across campus, we created Startup Guide. It's a tool that can help navigate in the ecosystem and resources in order that makes the most sense. This tool exists in an online form at startupguide.umd.edu. And if we have time at the end of the presentation, I can also show you that tool live. And the tool also exists in the form of a basic flowchart that I can share to everyone who signed up to attend the presentation. The suggested path is divided into 4 parts following the stages of company development. So you start with assessing the feasibility of your idea, then you form the company, and then you start growing it, and hopefully at some point your company becomes self-sustaining business. And this is a very, very high level, a typical path. So you can visit the website and I will share the flowchart with everyone. However, and both the website and the flowchart show a lot more details with concrete steps. However, here is a basic high-level path that works best for most startups. And we will discuss the first initial steps that you should be thinking about taking immediately, your immediate next steps further into this presentation. So you first start with disclosing your intellectual property so that it could be assessed and protected if needed. Then you would participate in I-Core program and do customer discovery. Through customer discovery, you will be able to further assess your market potential, the size of your market, and a lot more details about your customers, and also what type of product that you're going to be building, what features people are looking for, and a lot of very useful information that is good to know before you build anything. Armed with that information, you would apply for technology validation grant, and then Once you do technology validation and further commercialization planning, you will then be able to form the company. And then that company can then apply for the next phase in MII funding and receive $300,000. Also, you'll have an opportunity to apply for space. We have an incubator here on campus that offers labs and offices. And then you will be able to apply for your Maryland Industrial Partnerships and SBIR funding. But it's great to have that initial $300K funding while that other funding is pending, and because it takes a lot of time. And then there are investment funds that will be available. So again, obviously there are a lot more details for each step, but this is just a very, very high level path. So a little bit too far. We'll talk about your immediate next steps. So your first immediate next step, if you haven't done so, please visit go.umd.edu/discloseip and submit submit intellectual property disclosure to UM Ventures. And as I said before, intellectual property doesn't necessarily mean an invention. It can mean data, it can mean curriculum that you may have developed under sponsored research. It may mean any variety of things. It could be software, could be anything. And then you would work with one of our innovation managers to develop intellectual property protection plan. Our innovation managers are trained in assessing technologies and any other innovation, and determining, does it need to be patented? Should it be protected by copyright, and many other things. They can also advise you on best way to protect your software. If IP filings are needed, then the University of Maryland will take care of it. Your innovation manager will work on that. And they can also optional license the technology as well. So once you started working with your innovation manager, you should sign up for upcoming Startup Fundamentals Workshop Series. We hold these sessions, such as today's, throughout the year. Usually we have about 2 sessions a week focused on various topics such as market research, sales, marketing, how to raise capital, how to form a company, how to form your company team, and many other topics. We do wind down for the summer months just because most people are not attending. We have very low attendance in the summer. So we will be winding down and then restarting again in September. We do have a few workshops coming up in June, so please take a look at the schedule and sign up. And also, if you visit our YouTube channel, Startup UMD YouTube channel, you will see that we already have a very rich library of resources, and they have been sorted by topics, so you can start browsing those sessions as well. And if you have any ideas for any sessions that we haven't covered, or any session that you see on our Startup UMD YouTube channel that you would like for us to repeat live so that you can ask questions, please send me an email and we'll be happy to consider that. We also have a fantastic team of entrepreneurs in residence. These are all cashed out serial entrepreneurs, investors who are available to you to meet with them virtually and tell them about your innovation, ask them questions about company formation. How do I form the company? How do I figure out my market size? What should I do next? You can visit this URL listed down there, go.umd.edu/EIR 2022, and you will see schedule for each EIR. You can also see LinkedIn profiles or links to LinkedIn profiles. So you can click on each and see what their specialization is, what area of expertise they have. They all come from very different backgrounds, life sciences, information systems, product-based and tech companies. So you will be able to see what their backgrounds are and sign up to meet with one of them or two. Please do take advantage of this very important opportunity. You are then highly encouraged to apply for I-Corps program. And I talked about it a bit at the beginning. So you submit your IP disclosure, work on protecting it if needed, and then you would sign up for first a regional I-Corps program. It's held here at the University of Maryland campus. However, since COVID, it's been held virtually, and that format has been kept. It works well. What is I-Corps? It's a 2-week program where 3-week if you also count the preparation time. It's focused on customer discovery, where you will be taught on how to interview potential customers, or who you think your potential customers are, how to talk to them to find out what their problems are in their daily operations, and in talking to them, you would find out how your solution could possibly fit and solve their problems, or maybe not. Many people going through this program find out that who they think their customers are not necessarily the right way of thinking. They also find out that how people would interact with their product or service is different from what they're originally thinking. And they sometimes find out that people find a different value proposition. So this is a really useful way to figure out who your potential customers are, how would they interact with your product or service, how would they use it, why, and how would they buy it, or maybe not. The regional program offers pathway to national I-Corps. That National I-Corps offers $50,000 in funding to go with it. And participation also increases the chance for SBIR and other grants. A lot of funding agencies and funders respect and have a lot of respect for this program and recognize how much great work goes into it. And so thus participating in it increases your chance of getting the funding down the road. And as I mentioned, University of Maryland holds this program. Regional program usually runs 5 or 6 times a year. So you can, let's see, you can visit icorps.umd.edu to find out when the next cohort is going to be happening. And you can also sign up to attend the info session. Armed with information from your customer discovery exercises about your market potential, customers, and such, you would then be in a much better position to apply for TEDCO MII. It's a technology validation grant from the state of Maryland. It offers $115,000 as research funding. So you do have to have university-owned IP to apply for this, and it would go to you to your research lab. There's no overhead taken out of it, so the entire amount goes to your lab for a 9-month project to validate technology. You can use that money to buy equipment, materials, hire outside consultants or other experts, and also pay PI and student salaries out of this. So this is a great way for a PhD student or postdoc who is partnered with a professor to kind of first dip their toe into the entrepreneurship and do sort of start the company, but without necessarily having to leave the university environment because they would still be getting their salary, their University of Maryland health insurance and such. And they would also be developing or validating technology, either building an MVP, testing it, getting additional data, so anything that would get it further down the readiness level. To apply for this funding, you will be working with one of our site miners. We have 3 site miners. All are fantastic, and they divide the deal flow into, or they divide cases into 3 categories: information sciences, physical sciences, and life sciences. And that's per their expertise. So they are not scientists, they are entrepreneurs, investors, business people, and they will help you formulate the business side of your proposal. They also will be the ones who go to TEDCO and defend your application there. Many of them have done that for a number of years, and they know the reviewers, they know what the reviewers are looking for, and they can help you shape your application so it's in the best fundable format. And then they can also go and defend it at TEDCO. So here's just some MII program metrics. As you can see, so this past year, we've had very high success rate. 8 applications submitted, 7 approved. Very high success rate, mostly because the site miners work very closely with all of the PIs, with all of the applicants, and they know what a winning application would look like, and that's a great asset. So you can see we've had over 1 million already awarded. We have 2 more applications that were just submitted May 1, so those 2 are still pending. So if you are interested in applying for MII, please let me know. Next application is July 1, and I'll be happy to connect you with one of the site miners. But to qualify, you first need to submit a disclosure to our office. So once you've done your MII phase 1 project, hopefully you have your MVP or further de-risked innovation, then you would actually form the company. The company can be located in at the University of Maryland's Rabin Building Incubator or somewhere in the Discovery District. We can help you with both. There are express startup IP licenses where it's very startup friendly. There's no cash payment from the startup because startups don't have cash. It's very important at this point, as soon as you form the company, to submit conflict of interest disclosure. It's required for all University of Maryland College Park faculty and staff, and work with conflict of interest committee to either get a no conflict, or if there are conflicts, they will work with you to develop a management plan. They do their best, and it's very, very rare that they find that there are cases when conflicts could not be managed, but it's very, very rare. In most cases, they will find a solution. And if there are no conflicts, then you have that, freedom to operate, knowing well that you are in compliance with any policies and laws. And then you would be able to apply for TEDCO MII company formation funding. That's $300,000 that goes to the company. So phase 1 goes to you as the PI, and then the company formation goes to the company. It's $300,000. It's not a grant. It's a loan. However, it's fairly easy to get if your phase 1 project was successful. Fairly easy and quick, and it enables many startups to to weather the storm, so to say, and pay for things that an SBIR, for example, won't pay for. Or you can also use this money to kind of wait out, because SBIRs and VC money take time. This is quick, and you can use this money to operate before that other money comes in. You can also apply for MIPS funding, offers up to 180K in R&D funds, where you can partner with any university system of Maryland researcher to further develop your technology, and of course SBIR funding. And this is just the startup formation, so we're not going to go into details what happens next, not to overwhelm you, but here are, hopefully you now have a good idea of what your next immediate steps should be. So here's Startup Impact Report for calendar year 2021. It's the latest. I'm collecting 2022 data from our startups as we speak, but it's not ready to be released quite yet. So as you can see here, 31 out of 46 active startups participated. And as you can see, they do have an enormous impact on our society. In addition to generating money and jobs and tax base, they're also offering really compelling and important products and services that actually do help us as a society as a whole. So here are some success stories based on the University of Maryland innovation. So INQ is a quantum computing startup that went public in 2021. It was led by Dr. Chris Monroe from the Department of Physics. Here's another great startup called Hazel Analytics. It actually is based on an open source software that Ben Peterson and Ginger Jin developed. And while open source software is available to people, it's really hard to use it if you don't know, if you're not a specialist and you don't know how it works. And so they built a whole company on top of that, and they built a company that collects health data from jurisdictions across the country, and it allows people to see, so it allows you as a customer today to see a health index for any restaurant. You can go on Yelp and see the health score. It's powered by Hazel Analytics, and also a lot of restaurant chains are using them to track health reports from across from their establishments across the country. N5 Sensors was developed by Dr. Abhishek Motayev. It's located in the state of Maryland, and they are developing sensors that can detect various gases. They are now deploying as a fire prevention tool for wildfires in California, in Colorado, and other states. Dr. Srini Raghavan has several startups under his belt. The way he does it, he lets his postdocs or PhD students lead the company while he goes back to his lab and keeps churning out these amazing inventions. So this is an example of a product that's based on his invention, and you can actually go, you can buy Rapid Seal. It's gel that stops bleeding. You can buy it on Amazon, or if you go to CVS, the CVS brand of the same gel is actually that's what is actually also based on Dr. Srini Raghavan's invention. Here's another one. Here's another startup based on his technology. So very, very different. It's a gel. Originally, the original product was gel that restores stickiness to football gloves, and then they branched out into many other products, like such as gloves themselves and many others. Another great example, Dr. Ken Kao. She is Associate Professor of Department of Cell Biology and Molecular Genetics, and is doing research on progeria. And while doing her research, she discovered that methylene blue has a very strong antioxidant effect on skin, and decided to launch a skincare line, anti-aging skincare line. Their products are sold on Macy's.com and many other platforms, and they are constantly innovating and developing new products. Dr. Ann Simon has developed a product that hopefully will help save citrus trees that are currently dying worldwide from citrus greening disease. And she started this company, again, somebody else is leading it, and she is an advising scientist, and hopefully stopping this epidemic and hopefully restoring the citrus trees worldwide. So that's the end of the presentation. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So you can either submit them as the Q&A or chat, or you can also raise your hand and I can unmute your button. I can unmute your mic. Well, if, let's see, here's a question. Can international students form a company during their studies? The answer is yes. You can form a company, you can go through all these steps. Will you be able to operate this and how? Depends on what the product is and what you will be doing. So that's something that the graduate student legal aid office will be able to guide you. So I recommend that you reach out to them. But yes, you can take advantage of this program depending on what the technology is and what the product is too. Yes, I will share the slides, and I also will share the link to the presentation on our YouTube channel. And I also will share the link to the startup guide and the link to the online tool. Well, thank you very much. There are no more questions. If you do think of a question later, please reach out to me by email. And otherwise, if you would like to schedule a separate meeting where you would like to discuss your particular case, I'd be happy to do so as well. Could we include it? Here's a question. Could we include a team member outside of UMD network? Yes, absolutely. In fact, most teams have that, and we encourage our PIs partner with outside individuals very much so, yes.